Make this make sense. Gypsy Rose Blanchard did a whole video about I am a K-I-L-L-E-R TV show, okay? She goes on like she's gonna divulge some kind of like inside scoop, some tea, some prison gossip. She goes on to talk about each one of these women that's on that show, right? Like she's so threatened by the fact that Life After Lockup was in a whole entire prison show way before you stole the name. Okay, let's talk about how she says, yeah, this person here didn't really know her, then goes on to talk shit about her. This lady here didn't really know her. She only knows that she's a part of some kind of program or affiliated with the program because she's got a pink shirt on. Great wild guess. This girl didn't really know her, but she was a mean girl, hung out with all the lifers, you know? Okay, so you're acting like you know these women, and then you go on to simultaneously, while talking about each and every one of them, say that you don't really know them. They were either not in your housing unit, in your pod, or they were not really affiliated with you or your clique. So how are you talking about people that you don't really know like you know them? And then she goes on to talk about her like she completely knew her and was close to her, and then divulges this little tidbit that she scared the crap out of her because she had dead behind the eyes type eyes. And then goes on to say she didn't really know her.
A few doors down from me. I'm going to kind of share a couple of stories with each of the women that are on the show. So Kimberly Duncan, how should I say this? She's just one of those people that is just super negative all the time, and that's really all that I can say about her. So this is Gemma Donahue. I personally didn't know her all that well. I probably only met her maybe once. She was one of those girls that was in like the mean girl clique. She was best friends with a woman that I personally did not get along with and had problems with. So she ran with that clique. The clique that kind of like always feels like they're better than everybody else, and you know, they're hot shit because they're, I don't know, lifers or some shit. So there's a hierarchy in prison, and lifers have like so much clout or whatever, you know, ranking, I guess, if you want to call it that. So I have not watched her story yet, but I'm just noticing that she is on this show. This is Victoria Smith.
Let me guess, you don't know her either.
I really personally don't know her, but she has a pink shirt on. So the pink shirts are, if you're in a program called Beauty for Ashes, which is a Christian-based program, and you complete the program, you get a pink shirt. Wow. So I do know that about her.
Because
I think she works for Restorative Justice, which is like a little program that they have in prison, making blankets for charities. I mean, from what I know, you know, she did stuff in prison to better herself, as far as I know. Like I said, I don't have any negative run-ins with her. I really just didn't know her all that well. Okay, so I moved on from the Netflix show, and I actually wanted to talk about a certain case. So this is 2020. Unpause it. And I was in jail for a year with this woman named Diane Sty. And I knew her a lot better than I knew the other women. And I can attest to the fact that, like, I know I'm no one to talk, but I am allowed to have my opinion about the women that I did time with. And she legit is the creepiest woman that I have ever met. She literally is that dead behind the eyes. So I was...
Okay, so you got that, right? You heard that. Every single one of the women that she can have an opinion on because she spent time in prison or in jail with them, she's allowed to have an opinion on. But she goes on to literally guess that somebody was affiliated with this particular program or this particular program because she's wearing a pink shirt. Well, clearly, if you get a pink shirt for completing that program, the woman is wearing the pink shirt. It doesn't take a genius to figure out 2 + 2 = 5, Gypsy. Okay, so let's really stop and think about that. This is what Karen Reed is so amazing at doing. And if you didn't know, the retrial, a lot of people, okay, because it's on day 4 of her retrial, a lot of people didn't pay attention to the fact that this trial is going to be completely different. Why? Because Karen Reed herself doesn't know when to shut the F up. And she literally did not 1, 2, 3 different interviews and a 5-episode docuseries with ID. Okay, now they don't have to have her on the stand testifying in her own defense. Why? Because they can use those interviews and that docuseries, use her own words against her own words. You know what Karen Reed did? Talking about that night that she hit and killed her boyfriend of 2 years, John O'Keefe, who is a Boston police officer. She literally says, oh, because she has CCTV footage from CF McCarthy's, and then also the footage from the other, which is the Waterfall Bar and Grill. Literally, they have the receipts. They know how much they drank. They see it, and then they have the receipts for how much they drank. 9 drinks. She goes on to say it's 4, that she's not buzzed. In a whole different interview, she says it was maybe about 6, 5, or 4. There's a huge difference between drinking 4 drinks and 6 or 7 drinks. There's a huge difference between drinking 4 drinks and 9, and having 2 of those be doubles, which actually make it 11. So taken exactly like Gypsy Rose Blanchard, you take what she says and take what she says over here, and you compare it, and it doesn't make any sense. The truth verifiably always stays the same. It remains as it is. Your recollection of it. It's not going to continuously change based on what you think other people want to hear. Only narcissists and sociopaths do that. But Gypsy is doing this. She's making everybody think that she is divulging this personal, detailed information about these particular prisoners that are on this particular show. Like, why is she picking this particular show? Is she really that threatened by other inmates who are lifers and are getting the camera time and the interviews and being on Netflix shows? Because Life After Lockup is an entire plagiarized show name already, Gypsy. The Life After Lockup is already a TV show, and it was way before you came out of prison. So, you know, that wasn't very creative there with the titling of your reality show. But the whole thing, the Prison Confessions, is she has relied on the fact that, oh, she was a prisoner. And that's how she's, oh, look at me, I'm out, I'm reformed, I'm living my life, I'm going to do all these things I've never done before. Of course, we know in the true crime community that that's fundamentally not the truth in any capacity. We know that. We know what the truth is. We've seen the case files. We've seen the photographs, the evidence. We know that this is all a gimmick to sell a story, to sell a narrative. We all already are past that. We've been past that for over a year and a half now, okay? But she's doing exactly what Karen Reed does. These narcissistic, sociopathic word salads that literally just do nothing but get you so emotionally, mentally confused and bogged down that you just surrender and give up, and you don't even want to listen anymore because of it. She's divulging these little tidbits and stories about these particular women. She picks every single one of them, and then she goes on to say she didn't even know the person at all. And some of them she didn't even ever meet. She just knows them because they were affiliated with somebody else that she didn't like, or somebody else that she knew. She goes on to specifically look up her 2020 episode and go on to say, like, she knew her, make it sound like she knew her so well, but then to say that she didn't know her at all, that she creeped her out, that she was scared of her, and that she was dead behind the eyes, and she was the creepiest person she ever met. So meeting somebody and actually knowing them to have an opinion, or to see their stories and then form an opinion, that would be one thing. To say, yeah, I watched this show and I listened to their stories, or I saw the 2020 episode, or I saw this different interview, or I looked it up and then I formed an opinion. No, she's making people believe that she one-on-one knew these women in prison. Therefore, she has an opinion that is different from an outsider opinion, and she's going to divulge that information to us by telling us a story. She really didn't tell us anything at all. She spent this entire video telling us diddly shit, deflecting and projecting away from the fact that you have people on live panels and your friends and associates and family members are over here saying things about creators.